Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Asset Leadership Pipeline Program. We hope you've had a good morning so far, and we also hope that you had a great opportunity to network with each other in this rich virtual platform. My name is Sid Wilson. I'm the President and CEO for ASED, the Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. You're going to be in for a great session on developing the enterprise mindset. I promise this will be an uplifting, inspiring, and very informative session with a speaker that is someone that I admire greatly, and many of you will as well. Just some housekeeping items. We encourage you to continue to share on social media your experience here at the Asset Leadership Pipeline Program. Make sure that you use the hashtag ACER events, HACR events. This session was made possible thanks to the support of our sponsor, PepsiCo. Please enjoy this video from our sponsor, PepsiCo.
At PepsiCo, we're proud to be part of the Latino community. It's vibrant, passionate, resilient, and always moving forward, even in the face of hardship. We know this because, like you, we live and work here. We see the energy, the smiles, and the drive of our people. That's why we've partnered with Unidos US to support nearly 300 local community organizations. We'll provide meals for seniors and families in need, helping them get the medical care they seek, and do our part to ensure our community thrives. Because it's about people. It's about our community. It's about all of us. Together is how we get through this.
Thank you, PepsiCo, for your session sponsorship, and thank you for serving also as a co-host sponsor for our Asset Leadership Pipeline Program and your commitment to Hispanic inclusion. So let's get started. It gives me such great honor and privilege to introduce to you a very special speaker, someone that is that not only do I admire, but is admired by many. Carla Harris is the Vice Chairman and Managing Director for Morgan Stanley. She is the highest ranking woman of color at the company. She's also one of the highest ranking women of color in the financial industry. She is the author of two books that I encourage you to read. One is Expect to Win, Show Up with Your Best Self Every Day, and also her book, Strategize to Win, The New Way to Start Out, Step Up, and Start all over in your career. Carla, in addition to her leadership at Morgan Stanley, serves on multiple corporate boards. She was appointed by former President Barack Obama to serve as chair of the National Women's Business Council. U.S. Bankers Magazine named Carla one of the top 25 most powerful women in finance, and Fortune Magazine named her one of the 50 most powerful Black executives in corporate America. I promise this is going to be a great session. Please welcome Carla Harris, Vice Chairman and Managing Director from Morgan Stanley. Thank you, Carla, for being here with us.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Sid. And hello, the 2020 class of HACER's Leadership Pipeline Program. I'm so happy to be able to spend a few minutes with you talking about having an enterprise mindset, as well as spending a few minutes with Sid going back and forth with a few questions. And I'll tell you that it could not be a more opportune time to have this discussion about the enterprise mindset, because every enterprise that I can think of across all industries are undergoing change, whether it's the COVID-19 pandemic, the global pandemic, or whether it's the social unrest around racial injustice in this country and frankly around the world. Every corporation in every industry is being challenged at this time, which means it's a great opportunity for you to advance your leadership journey in your career. I'm a strong believer that chaos breeds opportunity, and we have a whole lot of chaos going on right now, which means there's enormous opportunity for you. So what does it mean to have an enterprise mindset? It means to have the mindset of a leader. And I also feel strongly that you can lead from any seat. Do not be fooled by the title. Do not be fooled by the org chart. You can lead from any seat. And now we're in an environment where every corporation is listening. They're looking for new answers. They're looking for new solutions. They're looking for different types of results. They're looking for new ways to engage with customers, new ways to engage with shareholders, new ways to engage with their employees. And now is the time to exercise your voice. I also believe that in order to be a powerful, impactful, influential leader in today's environment, you must be intentional. It does not just happen. You do not lead because you have the title. You have to be intentional about how you show up every day in order to be a powerful leader. And I believe that you have to be intentional around 8 pearls, as I like to call them, my hard-earned and my hard-learned pearls. And those 8 pearls of intentional leadership are, frankly, authenticity, building trust, creating clarity, creating other leaders, being intentional about diversity, because we are all vulnerable to unconscious bias, all of us. So you must be intentional around pushing against that. You have to be intentional around innovation, intentional around inclusivity, and intentional around voice. But the 3 that I want to focus on today are building trust, actually, innovation, and voice. Those are the ones that lead directly to having an enterprise mindset. Building trust. We are all competing in some way around innovation. It is the dominant competitive parameter across all industries. And if you are competing around innovation, it means as a leader, you will go into territories unknown. And every great leader understands that you can't do it alone. You will need somebody else's intellect, somebody else's experience, and somebody else's access to relationships in order to successfully prosecute any endeavor. And if you are in the leadership seat today, or you even aspire to be in a leadership seat, you will not be able to get other people to give you their intellect, their experience, and their access to networks. And everybody has a network unless they trust you. So the question is, how do you build trust? And you build trust in any organization by delivering over and over and over again. Whenever I'm trying to get close to a client, I try to think of 4 things that I can do for them before I ever ask for anything. And people will always tell you what they value. They will always tell you what they value. So when you're trying to build trust within your organization, you need only create a space for people to speak so they will tell you what they value. Once they tell you what they value, then you deliver upon that which you know they value. The mistake that most people make in trying to be successful in any organization is they go in with the best intentions. I'm going to work really hard. I'm really smart. I know I can conquer anything. They're going to see that I'm a hard worker, that I'm loyal, that I can deliver, and I'll be rewarded. But at the end of the day, if you are offering that which is not valued, you won't maximize your success in that role because you're working in a way that's inconsistent with the way they're thinking about success. So you should always endeavor to understand what people value. How do they think about success, either directly in your department, directly with your manager or whoever your boss is, or more broadly in the enterprise? What do they value? Once you understand what they value, then that's what you consistently deliver on if you want to have that enterprise mindset and build trust. Let me give you a micro example. Maybe I'm talking to a client and the client has said, oh boy, I'm an avid runner and I really like running. That's what I do. It does this for me. It does that for me. So now I think to myself, how can I deliver on that which they value? Maybe I say, hey, have you tried the new Nike shoes? I know someone who's tried them and they say they have unbelievable support. Can I connect the 2 of you? Oh, are you running in the Berlin Marathon? I have a group of friends that have gone over there. Can I connect them so that when you land, there's a community that you can engage with? Because I understand that there's currency in connections. Maybe I say, oh, here's a great article that I think you'd like. Oh, my sister is an orthopedic surgeon. May I connect you? Every runner needs to have an orthopod on speed dial. 4 things before I ever ask for anything. So by the time I ask for something, they say, wow, Carla's done A, she's done B, she's done C, she's done D. And they say, well, maybe I can give her a little bit of this transaction. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all I need is a little bit of an opening. I can wiggle my hips through the rest of that and land and expand. But they trust me enough to give me the shot. It's the same thing with your teams. It's the same thing within your organization. Position yourself as somebody who delivers over and over so that people know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, they can trust you with no matter how big or how high profile the opportunity might be. The second thing is around innovation. You must have an innovation mindset if you're going to have an enterprise-wide mindset. across your organization. So you need to think about, how is the organization speaking when they talk about innovation? Is it to preserve market share? Is it to drive revenue, profitability, conserve costs, create a new engagement or pipeline, create new customers? When you are introducing a new idea, you need to make sure that you introduce it using the language that is valued within your organization. And it should be focused on innovating. And sometimes you have to also introduce the language in a competitive way. Talk about the new idea that you'd like to bring to the forefront. Talk about it in terms of what the competition is or is not doing. Most companies will listen when you introduce the competitive argument. And oh, by the way, ladies, remember, there are very few people, I meant ladies and gentlemen, sorry, there are very few people that have original thought. So whenever you are bringing an original, innovative idea into your organization, you need to make sure that you are educating and selling at the same time. You must educate and sell. And once you have done that, then it's important that you infect your team with an innovation mindset. You should speak in these terms. We should all have a blank sheet of paper mentality. We have delivered this product to the organization, and now there's an opportunity for that product to grow. But how do we begin thinking about that product's version of 2.0? And then the last point that I want to leave you with is all about voice. If you want to be a powerful leader in today's environment with an enterprise mindset, you must exercise your voice. You must be willing to call a thing, no matter how bad the thing might be. And in the environment that we're in now, companies are calling upon their folks of color as well as women to help them with the solutions about how they should show up in the marketplace, what they should say about this particular incident, how should they position themselves as somebody who is progressive. Now is the time to exercise your voice. I know that some of you may be midway through your career and you may even be resentful or angry now that now they're calling on my voice. Now they're asking me, but do not let your anger blow your opportunity. Now is the time to put forth your progressive ideas that can help the whole organization. That's the enterprise mindset. And by the way, help you. 2 words that I want you to remember: constructive and productive. All of your comments here going forward should be constructive and productive. And as I close, if you want to have an enterprise-wide mindset, you must both expect and strategize to win. And now I'm looking forward to my conversation with Sid.
That was so inspiring. I mean, every time I hear you speak, it just lifts me up, and I know that everybody participating in our Said Leadership Pipeline program got great value. I want to ask you some questions, and I loved how you referenced your 8 pearls, and I know that that's in your book, Strategies to Win, if I'm correct. And by the way, you're author of 2 books, mind you. I think one is Strategies to Win, and then Expect to Win. So everyone, get the books from Carla Harris. I promise you, they're going to give you a great value, like they're giving me great value. So one question is about you talked about building trust, and you also talked about the importance of educate and sell. Can you talk about how it's important to be prepared to pivot when you see a changing environment, whereby some things that may have worked in the past, and sometimes some people may sometimes make the mistake of assuming that it'll continue that way in the future, and then when change happens, they're using a legacy strategy for something that may not be working in the future. Can you talk about taking that courageous move to sometimes pivot in changing times as part of an enterprise mindset?
Absolutely. And that's why I talked a little bit, Sid, about having a white sheet of paper mentality and thinking about how could we do it differently. Everybody, especially in this moment that we have gotten this great pause, everybody should be thinking to themselves, how would I do the job that I do today differently if I was starting today with a blank sheet of paper? And what I have as a benefit today that I didn't have perhaps when we started this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is I have technology that has advanced. And many of us, Sid, let's face it, have been using technology. We have not been leveraging technology. So knowing what I know today, how would I leverage technology differently? How would I think about partnerships and collaborations differently than I thought about them 10 years ago or 2 years ago? Because just think about it, 10 years ago, what was valued in the marketplace were those things that were proprietary. Well, we got a trademark on this. Nobody else has this. This is our proprietary X, our proprietary Y. What's valued today? Collaborative partnerships. So now you should be thinking, how can we actually expand, get to market faster if we're leveraging somebody else's intellect, leveraging somebody else's experience? Just think about it. This is the first time ever in our lifetime we've seen large pharma collaborate to get a vaccine to marketplace, because everybody has gotten the joke for years, but it wasn't to anybody's benefit to do it before now, was that you may be moving faster on X, you may be moving faster on Y, and I actually have Z. We can actually accelerate this to double D earlier, right? So that's what's valued today. Everybody should be thinking about that, and especially people who are sitting in the leadership seat. You can't afford to hug a legacy system. And the red flag should be, if you're hugging a legacy system, something you've been doing for 5 years, that should be your red flag. That you somehow, some way, you have to figure out how to change something, or you will be left behind.
Thank you. That's a great answer, and I know that many of our attendees are appreciating this. This is great. One question is about not only building a team, but when you may need to make adjustments to your team. Can you talk about how that falls into the importance of that enterprise mindset?
Yes, I have to tell you, that's one of the most important things that a leader can do. And I actually learned this listening to Meg Whitman when she was just off of her time as CEO of eBay. She said that one of the most important things she learned at eBay was that it was her job as a CEO to make sure that the right person was in the right seat at the right time. And that one is a very tough one for us, because when you're in an environment where you're innovating, and let's say Sid was the person that came up with this great idea and got this product or this process to this place, but it is clear he's not the person to actually get it to grow another 75%, and you have to make that change. That's hard for some leaders, especially because of, this was my baby, this is the person that led it. But it is your job, and you cannot tarry on that, because it obviously impairs who you are as a leader, and it can also impair the organization. So leaders have to stay ahead. That's the active job of leadership, is to be thinking ahead about where the company is going, where the product is going, where the process is going, where the customers are going, and making sure that you're thinking about your talent set, that you have the right people, or that you're stretching people, or that you're putting innovatively minded people into those roles ahead of time, because to do it retroactively costs you.
Thank you so much. One question, especially for our attendees who are aspiring to be future executives, is executive presence. Can you talk about the importance of not only the enterprise mindset, but how you include your presence, either as a current executive or someone that aspires to be an executive in the future?
Yes, I have to tell you, I feel strongly, Sid, that every job has a uniform, right? Every job. I don't care whether you're working at McDonald's, working in a hospital, or working in a corporation. Every job has a uniform. So one of the most important things for anyone to do, especially someone who is aspiring to move up the ladder, is to look at the uniform of the more senior people. How are they showing up every day? Are they showing up in casual attire? Are they showing up with business attire? So they have on the polo shirt and khaki pants, but they have on the navy blue blazer. Are they showing up, actually in a suit, maybe just without a tie? So if you want people to see you as a senior person, then you want to make sure that at a minimum you have the uniform on. The other thing that I've noticed about great leaders is that they do tend to listen more than they speak. They listen and study really closely what people are saying. So when you're going up the ladder, it is important that the organization hears your voice. But as you get a little bit more senior, you want to do a little bit more studying and listening before you actually opine and speak. That has a lot to do with executive presence, and it does not compromise your authenticity. So don't just say, well, I like to talk, so I'm being inauthentic if I don't talk. No, you can talk whenever it's the right time to talk, but you're being a lot more measured about how people are consuming you. And remember, whenever you're in front of someone, they are consuming you. And what do you want them to consume?
That's beautiful. I love that answer, that every job has a uniform. I hope everybody hears that correctly. That's so important. One last question, and that is, like any enterprise, an enterprise mindset is just knowing the balance of when to take risk or take those leap of faiths, or when you can't. I like to say when you can't go based on fact, you go based on faith, because you may not know what the outcome is. But can you talk about the importance of building those risk muscles to as part of that enterprise mindset?
Absolutely. And I think step one to building a risk muscle is making sure that you're not afraid of making mistakes. Right. And I realized, Sid, that especially in communities of color, we are told ever since we are little kids, you don't have the same amount of chances as everybody else. You only have one shot. You won't have a chance to recover. Other people might, but you won't. And, I've looked over 30 years of my career, and I've wondered how many times that has tempered my risk appetite, because I truly thought I only had one shot. So I have worked diligently over the last 5 years to rid myself of that thought, because I've looked around and everybody makes a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake, and a lot of people make a lot of mistakes, and they are still successful. So don't think that you're in a box where you only have one shot, because that will constrain the number of risks that you take. The second thing is to make sure that fear is not really a part of your mindset, because fear is sneaky and it will certainly stop you from taking risks. And here's the third thing. There are very few things in life that are irreparable. So you make a mistake. Guess what? Now you have some experience. It always brings you a gift. Taking that risk always brings you a gift if it doesn't work out, and it's called experience. And now you know how to do it better. Now you know how to do it differently. Now you know how to do it successfully. So at the margin, always worth taking the risk. And here's why. Every time you take a risk, you get one of two things. You either get the blessing of that thing you were going for, or now you know how to do it differently. You get the lesson, not the blessing. And guess what? They're both valuable.
I love that answer, and I think that I hope everyone hears that closely, because these are some things that we need to understand when we're making those decisions, especially when you don't have all the facts. And of course, I know, Carla, I love Michael Jordan's famous quote that I've missed 9,000 shots, I've lost 300 games on 26 occasions, I've been asked to take the winning shot and missed, I failed over and over and over again. That is why I succeed. And
I love that quote too.
Yeah, so this is great. Carla, it has been such a huge honor and privilege and pleasure. You're one of the executive leaders I admire the most, because not only because of your success, but also how you share your successes in very understandable strategies. And I know that everyone who's watching is giving you a virtual applause. And again, thank you. A big applause to Carla Harris, Vice Chairman and Managing Director at Morgan Stanley. And I hope everyone gets her books. And of course, thank you to PepsiCo for sponsoring this session. And so the next session is the value of cultural intelligence, starting in 5 minutes. And once again, don't forget to post on social media with the hashtag ASCED Events. And we hope all of you continue to have a great ASCED Leadership Pipeline Program day. Enjoy the rest of the sessions.